Lesson 2 is find the market's demand, and it starts with a hard truth. Your skills mean nothing if nobody's willing to pay for them. This one only works if you've already written out your personal asset inventory from Lesson 1. Specifically the zone of genius skills you circled, because every problem you're about to research has to trace back to something you're actually equipped to solve, or you'll end up validating a market you can't serve. In this episode, we're going to brainstorm the specific problems your skills can solve, run keyword research to see if people are actually searching for solutions, listen in on Reddit and Quora for real frustration in people's own words, and narrow all of it down into 3 or 4 validated problem statements. Grab your PDF. You're going to need what you wrote last time. Your skills mean nothing if no one's willing to pay for them. So this lesson moves your focus outward, from what you can do to what the market actually needs. It introduces problem-centric research, using tools like Google Trends, keyword research through something like Ahrefs or SEMrush, and social listening on Reddit, Quora, and LinkedIn to uncover the problems people are genuinely, urgently facing. You're hunting for signals, high search volume, questions that keep repeating, conversations that sound frustrated. Those signals point to the pain points your skills can actually solve. First, demand means solving a specific, stated problem. The market pays for solutions, not for potential. Another key one. Social listening and keyword research are your primary tools for finding needs nobody's meeting yet. A niche with high demand and low competition is the sweet spot you're hunting for. Don't invent a problem. Find one that already exists and position your skills as the answer to it. And maybe most importantly, validating demand with real data is what stops you from building a solution nobody actually asked for. First tool, the problem solution grid, a simple 2-axis framework where you list market problems on one side and your solutions from last lesson on the other. You're looking for where they intersect, and the bigger the problem paired with the better your solution, the more viable the niche. Second, Google Trends, which shows you how popular a search query is over time and by location. It's a fast way to check whether a topic is growing, holding steady, or fading. And a rising trend line is a real signal of increasing demand. This lesson is your reality check. It shifts your focus from what I can do to what the market actually wants to pay for. You're becoming a detective here, gathering evidence instead of brainstorming ideas, because the core claim is that a real niche is born from a painful problem, not a clever idea. Back in Lesson 1, you wrote out your personal asset inventory and circled your zone of genius skills. Now you're going to hold each of those skills up against real evidence of demand. By the end, you'll have a short list of validated problems worth solving, and the output for this lesson is your validated problem statements, 3 or 4 of them, backed by actual data, not your gut. For each skill in your asset inventory, brainstorm a list of specific problems it could solve. Think about whose problems they are and how they'd actually describe them, and aim for 5 to 10 per skill. For example, email writing might solve low email open rates, poor sales conversions, or no time to build a sequence. Next, take that problem list and run it through a keyword tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush. Note the search volume and competition for each one. A phrase pulling 150 searches a month with low competition is meaningfully different from one with none. Then go do some social listening. Search Reddit, Quora, and LinkedIn for those same problems, and pay attention to the actual language people use and what they're frustrated about. Finding 15 posts in a week asking the same question is a clear demand signal. Have your PDF handy for this one. There's a lot to capture. Your checklist. Brainstorm 10 potential problems your skills could solve. Check Google Trends for your top 3 problem areas. Run keyword research on each using a tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush. Visit relevant subreddits or Quora threads to capture real pain point language, and pull all of that into a short list of 3 to 4 validated problem statements. This matters because that short list becomes your market demand filter. Next, you're going to look at who else is already solving these problems, and a problem with high demand and low competition is the most promising opportunity you can find. A marketer noticed that course creators kept running into the same wall. They're experts in their field, but they have no idea how to market themselves. No funnel, no compelling sales copy, just a great course that nobody knows exists. She used keyword research on phrases like course launch checklist and how to sell courses online, and found genuinely high demand. So she built a service around a complete launch strategy for exactly that problem. That specificity paid off. She's now run more than 40 client launches, with typical launch revenue over $50,000 and client satisfaction sitting at a perfect 5 out of 5. Thinking about that story, where's the gap between a clear problem you already listed in your asset inventory and a market that's genuinely underserved? Name one problem you know exists but feels overlooked. Then, what's the single most convincing data point, a search volume number, a Reddit thread, whatever it is, that validates demand for a problem you're seriously considering? Write it down. And if you actually serve this validated problem, what would be the most satisfying outcome for your client? Frame that answer in their words, not yours. The most common shortcut here is trusting your feelings instead of the data. That leads straight to me too, niches, or solutions nobody actually needs. Your feelings are irrelevant to the market. The data is everything. Real completion looks like a list of problems with tangible evidence behind them. 1,000 searches a month, 10 urgent Reddit threads, something concrete. This validated list is your direct link to analyzing the competition next, because a clearly defined problem is what lets you evaluate the field around it. Watch for the trap of falling in love with a problem that's interesting to you but not urgent to the market. Go with the loudest, most frustrated customers, not the most interesting topic. Pause here and pull out your worksheet. Under problem statements, list 3 to 4 validated problems from your research. Be specific and use the exact language your customer would use, not your own. Under demand validation data, write the strongest piece of evidence for each one, and if you can, attach a link or screenshot to prove it's real. And don't skip the no list. Write down a problem you were genuinely excited about that your research showed has low demand. That's just as valuable a lesson as anything on the yes side. These problem statements are your market-driven ideas. You'll use them next to see who else is already solving them. Check 10 potential problems brainstormed. Once you've got a list of 10 or more connected to your skills. Check keyword research completed. Once you've gathered search volume and competition data for your top 5 problems. Check social listening research completed. Once you have 3 or more real examples of people voicing the problem online. And check the final one, validated problem statements written. Once you've written 3 to 4 specific, data-backed statements. Once all 4 are checked, you've proven a real market exists for the problems you can solve. You're no longer operating on a hunch, and next you'll turn to the competition already fighting over this space. Here's the demand score calculator. For each problem statement, log the search volume, the competition level, and rate the urgency. How desperately people need this solved, from 1 to 10. A problem with high urgency and solid search volume, but low competition is your strongest signal. That combination is what you're scanning for across every row. Write your customer statement. 1 sentence, from the perspective of someone who actually has the problem you want to solve. In this format, I am a title/role, and I am struggling with specific problem. I have tried previous attempts, and it's not working. Something like, I am a course creator, and I am struggling to get my first 100 students. I have tried posting on social media, and it's not working. Pause now and write your version in the space provided. Where did your assumptions about market demand meet the cold, hard data? What was the most surprising thing your research turned up? Was a problem you were excited about actually less urgent than you thought, or the reverse? Sit with that for a moment. Push a little further. Explore 2 or 3 new places to find demand signals. Job boards for problems companies are actively hiring to solve, or review sites like G2 for complaints about software your skills could fix instead. What 2 or 3 new problem ideas did that turn up? If you have the PDF, jot them right there. What are 3 specific actions you'll take to make sure your niche stays driven by market data, not your ego? Dropping a pet project, running a customer interview, investing in a better keyword tool, whatever it is. Name them. Next time, we take your validated problem statements and map out exactly who else is already trying to solve them. Because competition isn't a reason to run, it's a sign there's money on the table.